Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy. It's a pleasure. It's my honor as usual being out here in the heart of nature and greeting you. Always bringing this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look no other place but to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. Now, before I go on to speak to you concerning Abdullah, Neville Goddard, and Joseph Murphy, I just want to mention to you that in my country, there's only one library, which is an academic library. And I'm trying my best to have a library in my country where people can learn more about self-development, self-help, spirituality, and so on. Therefore, I'm encouraging you to support this work by emailing me and contribute a book. It can be one book, it can be 2, 3, 4, how much you can afford that. If you have books in your home that you do not need, that you can send for this project, I'll be very grateful, and I want to thank you in advance. So you can email me and I can give you my contact and so on to get this project going under the House of Wisdom Foundation that I've actually formed. So I want to thank you very much again in advance. Now, I just want to speak about 2 of Abdullah's students, though I know that there have been many students that were taught by Abdullah. But today I want to focus on Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, and to show how both of them actually were basically saying the same thing, but was taking it from different angles. Now Neville spoke a lot about the Bible and what the Bible really means to humanity and how it's supposed to be interpreted to benefit all of humanity. That is why it is very important for people to understand the Bible psychologically and not as secular history or as not as literal as how it was taught to us. Now, because the Bible was taught to most people as if it is literal and secular history, most people believe what is happening right now, that it is the fulfillment of prophecy, and fail to realize that everything is the fulfillment of prophecy, and that you can write your own prophecy and see the fulfillment of your prophecy and decide what kind of life you want to live, whether you want to live a life in poverty or prosperity. Because your word will not return unto you void. It must accomplish and prosper in that which you send it to. Because you understand who you are, and you understand that the very first thing that you're supposed to seek for in this world is to know who you are. That's why you're told to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So the real message that Neville Goddard was bringing across to humanity is the message of self-realization. And this message of self-realization is teaching you to discover the pearl of great price by looking inwardly, to discover that you are spirit having a human experience, and that everything that you see on the outside is just an expression of that which is on the inside, and it's all imaginary. That is why when we die, we do not take anything with us. That's the reason why Neville was not so much about money. Neville was very much moderate in whatever he was doing, and he wasn't going to any kind of extreme. Now, Joseph Murphy, on the other hand, I would not say that he went to any extreme, but he focused a lot on the law and teach you how to use your mind and how the mind works and how to understand the subconscious mind. He even wrote a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it teaches us how important to understand that the subconscious mind is what will bring us into the sixth sense. And the subconscious mind is impartial. How the subconscious mind doesn't vibrate on good and evil. The subconscious mind deals with life. And how when we understand our subconscious mind is as we eating from the tree of life instead of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Therefore, he also was teaching us to keep our focus and our concentration on our innermost being to get an understanding of the inner universe and how to activate that inner universe to create what we so desire in our immediate environment. So here we see these two students take it from different angles, and one would have experienced the promise while the other would have never spoken about the promise, and never spoke about the promise. And coming very close to the end of Neville's work, he was speaking more about the promise than about the lie. He was telling you that there are people who have millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, but they have never really come to true self-realization. They haven't come to have the experience of the promise, and he was teaching us how the promise is very important. Fortunately for me, I experienced the promise even without knowing anything much about the law. It is through my experience why I decide to share my experience with the rest of humanity. And so because of that, I want to say to you that self-realization is more important than any law of attraction. But while you are here, as Neville said, you're given the law to help you ease the blows, because we are living in a world whereby the system is set up, and the system is the system of Caesar to tax you, and most of all to rob you of your mental faculties. That's the reason why they set up the school system, the religious system, the political system, and they have the whole elite, which is the 1% behind these kind of system, and they are the shadow government that is running things, because they do not want the people to come to this kind of realization of who they are and be empowered. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, I just want to encourage each and everyone who's listening to me for us to vibrate on the right concept of what Abdullah really taught Neville. Though it is good for us to acquire material things in this earth, and I will never discourage anyone from becoming rich and having abundance, okay? But let us not lose the focus of how important it is to know who you are. How important to understand the real message is the message of self-realization. It is a message that is teaching you how to vibrate from humanity to divinity. That's the reason why you will break out of all slavery. And you will understand why in this time that we are living, there's such a thing as a pandemic. You will understand why they bring AI and they are spying on you, and why they're putting certain things in place to keep you further subjugated or under control. But we are free. And I'm saying to you, the message was to set us free. The message, it was for us to most of all discover our real identity to be our divinity. So let us stop all of the division. Let us get out of the race game. Let us get out of prejudice and all kind of bias, and let us focus on the one energy that must be used to create our reality consciously, and to do it in a creative way that will bring more value to humanity. There are those who are using the same energy destructively. There are those who are using the same energy to control. But here we see Abdullah was willing to teach this truth to everyone. And he taught Joseph Murphy and he taught Neville Goddard. And we see that we can benefit from whichever one we choose to focus on. So if we focus and just getting things, we can be successful in that area also. And if we focus on having both self-realization and all these other things will be added unto us also, you will be prosperous. But it's what you want. We all have been given a choice. So I want to thank all those persons who reach out to me to speak about Joseph Murphy also, and I will continue to do more videos concerning Joseph Murphy and his impact and humanity with the message that he would have received from Abdullah also. But my brother and my sister, the most important thing, as I said before, is to know who you are. And our ancestors have been teaching it down through the ages, saying, man, know thyself. When you come to know who you are, you come into a place of contentment, a place of peace and joy and happiness, whether you have money or you don't have money. And when I say that, I mean whether you're rich, I mean real rich, okay, filthy rich or not, you'll be happy, you'll be contented. So with that being said, my brother, my sister, I want to thank you very much, and I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me, and what I'm saying, it really makes sense to you, if it's resonating with you, then it is for you. And I will say to you, if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. But before I leave you, I want to let you know that this message I bring to you, that it is the single eye, yes, the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body be full of light. And my brother and my sisters, hadn't it been that I would have experienced that single eye, when that single eye awake within me after that great and mighty shaking, when I would have heard the hand out the wind and ascend up on high as a fiery being and burst my crown chakra and became invisible, and come to understand that when it is said that you shall change from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye, that twinkling of an eye is an opening of an eye. And it been for that experience, I wouldn't have been here bringing this message to you. Always saying to you, do not let anyone brainwash or deceive you by making you believe that the single eye above the pyramid and the US dollar, that is an evil symbol. It is the all-seeing eye of God in you, who is your imagination, for you would have an awakened imagination when that eye open in you, and you will come to realize that you are God in flesh. That's the reason why I always say to you, my brother and my sisters, when you have the experience, you'll also realize that the single eye represents the eye of the mystics, the eye of the prophets, those who will go beyond humanity and come into their divinity and rise above the pyramid. Because from your shoulder up is a pyramid, from your shoulder to your waistline is a pyramid, and from your waistline down to your feet, the sole of your feet, it's a pyramid. It's all about the chi of life. And you would burst your crown chakra and come in to your full divinity and know exactly who you are. And you conquer death, hell, and the grave. And you say, oh death, where is thy sting? Oh grave, where is thy victory? That's the reason why I always put my hand right above my crown chakra and saying to you that when you have the experience, that you come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun, as in the S-U-N, parallels the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. Not Jesus, a S-O-N, because no S-O-N could exist unless there first be the S-U-N. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And you are also told in Psalms 84:11 that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And truly the sun has never withhold its energy from all of humanity, for the sun is what powers all of humanity. That's the reason why also in Malachi chapter 1 verses 2, you're told that the sun, as in the S-U-N, of righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. That is why I'm bringing healing to all of humanity by saying to each and every one to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire, just like Abdullah would have taught Neville and Joseph Murphy. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.